How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Beneath the Planet of the Apes. This is from 1970 and is the second movie in the Planet of the Apes series. This is directed by Ted Post and stars James Franciscus, Kim Hunter, Morel Evans, and a little tiny bit of Charlton Heston. Now, the first Planet of the Apes movie is a classic. You know, it's a sci-fi top 10. It's one that everybody knows and talks about and remembers. And I can only imagine how daunting it would be to do a sequel to Planet of the Apes. And what I would expect from a sequel, especially if it's a B-movie, is running around on the Planet of the Apes, doing some wacky ape shenanigans, and having a good old adventure, right? And that's about half the movie. You do get that. It is there. It is fun. Not as big as the first, but, you know, fun. And then you get the other roughly half of this movie, and it's going to be kind of hard to talk about without spoiling. I don't want to spoil anything significant in this movie. Obviously, I'll have to talk openly about the first, but in the first Planet of the Apes, everything was tight. Everything had a purpose, and you got the concepts, you know? There was a government science cover-up. Humanity was the apes' secret shame. They didn't want anyone to know that there was a race of intelligent humans. Charlton Heston as a human was put down, and then at the end of the movie you found out that it was all humanity's fault. Tight, focused, and a good narrative through line. And then in the sequel, it's like that happened, but there's also all this other stuff going on with the apes, and it gets a little crowded, a little convoluted, and quite bizarre. They introduce so many weird and strange elements towards the end of this movie. Like, towards the end, there's this reveal with some characters' faces, and it should have been super shocking, but the face scene, you're just so numb to weird stuff in this movie that you kind of go, yeah, that might as well happen, right? And they have, like, 10 or so interesting ideas that are kind of big and wacky, and they really needed someone to say, okay, these are 10 cool ideas, let's only pick 2 of them because this is way too much. And I think this is a case where it's kind of like Alien 3. In Alien 3, I can definitely say, I get what you were going for, and I can appreciate a lot of what you did, but it didn't quite land. And it's a movie, like, it's totally watchable, and when it does get bizarre, it does become, you know, kind of watchable in that strange, what the heck is going on here way. And if you do like more bizarre and out there cinema, yeah, the second half of this movie, totally for you. So, it's one of those that I can appreciate what it was trying to do, but definitely see that there's too much insanity going on here. It's interesting, not great, but is interesting, you know? I guess in order to analyze this further, I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot. I'll still be avoiding major spoilers, but I will take a moment to talk about the plot in order to analyze it. We open up with the ending of the last movie. It plays like a minute or two from Planet of the Apes 1 before rolling into new footage. And I mean, okay, I guess that makes sense, you know, this was back in the day before people had access to the old movies as easy. That being said, I don't think anyone forgot how the first Planet of the Apes ended. But anyway, old movie for a couple minutes, wandering through the desert, new footage, but just for credits. And then we see further on into the Forbidden Zone, and quite quickly things get strange. There's like a big wall of fire, and lightning comes shooting right down at them, and then Charlton Heston like goes up to this rock wall and falls through it into some strange cave, and now Nova's alone and she runs away to get help. So quite quickly, we're in really bizarre territory, and you're like, okay, wait. Someone sent a wall of fire at Charlton Heston and then tried to shoot him with lightning? Because it's quite clearly deliberate. And you're like, what's going on here? These are like biblical plagues. And the thing is, you know this is a sci-fi movie. There's going to be some sci-fi explanation for it. But still, we are right off the bat venturing way close into magic. And yeah, no, it's a different feel. Planet of the Apes was sci-fi, and it was super strange that there were ape people, right? But at the same time, the apes' technology is not super advanced, and other than the fact that there were, you know, humanoid apes, there's not really too much heavy technological sci-fi in Planet of the Apes. You know, the technology is relatively rudimentary, and then we start off with this bizarre opening scene. And also, this is now way too special effects heavy. The special effects don't hold up, and I don't think they had a huge budget to do them. Yeah, they don't look too great by today's standard, and that's the big opening scene with this movie. But then after that, we jump to New Guy. Does it say his name on the back? Another astronaut. No, it doesn't say his name. Cool. New Guy. Another spaceship crashes. We don't see his name. I'm sorry, we don't see the crash. Another spaceship crashes, we just see the debris, and we see New Guy and his skipper, and the skipper is slowly dying, and he's giving the skipper exposition, and then once he gives him all the exposition, we don't need the skipper anymore, and he's gonna die. But we basically find out that they're looking for Charlton Heston. Somehow they knew that he was in danger, and they were gonna go help him. I don't know how they would know, because, again, he wasn't supposed to get back for like 700 years, so how would you even know anything went wrong? Maybe they said something, but the dialogue was a little mumbly, because like one of them was dying and stuff. Tell me if I missed something. One thing I do like that they address is there's some sort of bend in time out in space, and both ships hit it, which is why they both arrive at the same time on the same planet, because otherwise the rescue ship would have gotten back before Charlton Heston, right? But anyway, New Guy goes out into the world alone. He is going to meet Nova, who still has Taylor's badge, and he's going to go on the quest looking for him. And overall, New Guy isn't bad, but he's just New Guy, you know? Like, he's not bad, but he's no Charlton Heston, and not only is Charlton Heston a great actor, but he's also the character we were following from the first one, and it just, you know, kind of sucks to not have our old character, and having someone who's not bad, but is clearly just a stand-in, it does make it feel a little bit hollow, but whatever, he's a serviceable character, but I'll always just think of him as New Guy. Anyway, Nova takes New Guy to the Ape City, which they call Ape City in this movie, and I guess that's actually the name of the city. That'd be like if humans had a city called Human City. And do all the apes on this planet just live in the one city? I thought they were all over the planet, but who knows? Anyway, they spy on Ape City. Nova takes New Guy to the two scientist apes from the first movie, and they set him up trying to get him to find Charlton Heston out in the Forbidden Zone. And of course, wacky Planet of the Apes shenanigans ensue. You get them getting captured for a little bit, having to break out, seeing all the humans getting rounded up in cages, and running around on horses in a sequence that has a little bit too much green screen, but hey, fun Planet of the Apes adventures, and yeah, it is kind of wacky chase sequence shenanigans for a while, but it's a fun movie, what do we care? Now, I won't spoil exactly how we get there, but the movie is called Beneath the Planet of the Apes, so we do eventually get to the New York City subway system, which isn't as good of a reveal as the Statue of Liberty. You know, the end of the first one, you blew it all up. And then this one, he's like finding a poster for the New York City subway. This was my home. Not as dramatic, but he gets the point. And we do get a little bit of exploring the ruins of old New York. That's cool. I loved seeing the subway. I loved exploring the ruins, and I thought, oh man, this movie might be getting pretty cool. But then we get the ending part, and I don't want to spoil that for you. It is very strange. They actually at one point parodied it on Mystery Science Theater even, and it's a very bizarre ending, and I get what they were going for. They try to incorporate themes of the world in this movie. Like, earlier on, you had, like, apes doing a Vietnam-style protest, and the scientists talk about the struggle with the government and their respect and their work, and all that works because it's set up earlier in the story, both in the first movie and in the first half of this. But then when we get to this part that's introduced, it just so comes up out of nowhere. It was, other than the scene where Heston disappears, it just comes out of the blue. And there's so many big things and new concepts going on. And it is a lot. Yeah, no, it's just throwing too much at the wall at once. And, like, I can see what they're trying to go for. I can see what they're trying to commentate about. And I can see how, yeah, it does share similar themes to other parts of Planet of the Apes, but it's just taking too much out of the toy box at once, and it's just, if you wanted to introduce all this stuff, it's so much stuff to introduce that it really should have taken place over the course of like 3 movies or something, just to get to this point where we could accept all this craziness. So yeah, the ending does go a little bit big, a little bit bonkers, a little bit over the top. Again, the part of me that likes B sci-fi could really appreciate this. But yeah, the original Planet of the Apes being so tight, so controlled, and so perfect, and then also all this stuff was going on, it doesn't feel like it fits within the earlier movie. But hey, it's kind of entertaining. More like a sci-fi film B-side than an actual continuation to Planet of the Apes. But hey, it's entertaining for what it is. But yeah, this movie ends super, super weird. And I won't spoil it, but there are some moments, like the evil scientist ape actually gets a really cool hero moment towards the end, when he has to face off against this big thing and he doesn't back down. He gets a really cool scene, which is strange because he's a villain. And then, I will say though, the final decision in this movie, it might have been a little forced. I get what they were trying to go for. I get the big epic ending they wanted, but I'm like, I don't think you would do that. But anyway, Planet of the Apes, it's a fun movie. Beneath the Planet of the Apes does go off the rails, but it's not terrible, just strange and not the right move, you know? Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my sci-fi movies playlist, and if you go in there and look around, you can find my review for the original Planet of the Apes. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.